right, welcome to episode 31 of the Real Estate Huddle, and we are excited today. This is going to be a great conversation because we not only have our Dreamsmith team, our kind of some of our usuals here, but we got two new additions today. We actually, Brock Hansen, who is a member of our team and has been for a long time, who's been part-time working real estate and also doing some aerospace engineering on the side as a full-time gig. He is now with us full time, and we're super pumped to have you here for the first time. So welcome, Brock.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, and then we've got Jason Hawks here, who is not a member of our team. He's a business owner in town, but recent client experience. So we actually just helped Jason sell his home and list his place, and so he was kind enough to come in and share some of your time to just tell us about your experience. So thank you so much for being here.
Excited to be here.
We appreciate you. So that's kind of the topic. Because we have Jason, we want this to be like mostly centered around that experience and get more of, you know, your input. Because a lot of times people on the Real Estate Huddle on our podcast, they hear like, what is the realtor, insight of the market, or what, we think about certain areas, certain communities, buy, rent, different things like that. So that's kind of what this show has been about. But we've never done this before, as far as having like an actual real life experience on the show. So, so we're pumped to have you, and you're like right in the thick of this because your home is currently under contract, hasn't closed yet, but we're close. By the time this airs, it will probably be closed at that point, and fingers crossed everything will go smoothly. But we talked, what was it, 2 months ago to get this ball rolling, or was it even less than that?
Yeah, it was like first week of May.
Okay, cool. So you had reached out and said, hey, I've got a couple options here. I'm looking at doing this on my own, right? Listing your house on your own. Yeah. And that was a valid option for you because you're a do-it-yourselfer kind of guy, right? You like to do a lot of things on your own, and you run a business, so obviously you're extremely capable. And then you got some opinions from a couple other agents out there, and then we had a chance to meet. So tell us a little bit about that experience of kind of shopping it around and looking at all options, and how you came to a decision.
Yeah, there's lots of factors that came into play with that. Just to touch on a couple things on like do-it-yourselfer, like my whole business, I figured out unique ways to like automate LinkedIn and like get people like appointments, and so everything I do every day is just me figuring stuff out by myself. So first option in my mind was, hey, can I do this myself? Because I pride myself on being the king of figuring things out. I also, just as a hobby, I figured out how to import vehicles from Canada, and there's some really good margin on that. And so like I figured out the whole process to do that. I got them impounded the first time I did it because I didn't have the right paperwork, and so they thought I was stealing a vehicle instead of buying one. So anyways, but I pride myself on figuring things out, so I really went hard down that can I do it myself route. And just there's so many little decisions you have to make, like what color do I paint the walls, what type of tile do I put in, do I fix this or do I not touch this? So every decision, there's probably 100 of them, to be honest, that need to be made. Some are really small, some are bigger.
Which is funny because I just looked back through our text thread today because I was trying to remember which stager we had that we worked with, and I was scrolling through. It was a lot of scrolling, a lot of back and forth, right? Dialogue between all the questions and stuff. So definitely,
there's 100 things, and you get decision fatigue. And I'm not an expert on selling houses and doing that. I mean, I grew up we built our own house growing up. My dad put a post in the ground and said, we're building a house, and 14 months later, there's a 4,000 square foot house there.
Can I interject for a sec?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, did you talk yourself out of it, or did you let us talk yourself, or was it kind of a process to
be honest, my approach was I had a realtor that I didn't know because I didn't want to be like, if I didn't want to go the realtor route, I had them come take a look at the place. They gave me recommendations. I was like, having someone else tell me these things is good, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go with someone who's way more experienced. The realtor I met with was very, was newer. So I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go with the most experienced realtor in town that I know of. So that's when I made the choice to go with Landon. Shortly
You heard
thereafter.
about the rest of the guys on the team?
He didn't say anything about that.
Yeah, you knew about Chad's good looks. You didn't call him. Yeah, no, it's interesting because I think every homeowner goes through that process, right? Of like, hey, could I do this on my own? Could I? And then you start thinking about all those decisions that stack up and all the hassle and showing the house yourself and marketing everything yourself. And you're a tech guy, so you know the tech side of things, which is highly, real estate is highly in that space now too. So I can see where your thought process is going there.
The other thing that threw a wrench in it is like all the recent changes on like the real estate commissions, right? That was like brand new. And so I was like, oh, this might be an opportunity where, hey, I could get help, but at a discount. So I was ready to go and just negotiate hard with real estate agents. But to be honest, I got better deals from other agents than what I ended up getting here. And I declined those because the experience was better here.
Yeah.
So I didn't go with the lowest cost option.
That's awesome. That's cool. So from a pricing standpoint, what were some of the different, prices that your neighbor, right, who's a realtor, was throwing out there, and then you had this other agent you met?
Yeah.
What were the three prices that you got told to sell your house for, and how did it end up?
Yeah. So my realtor, my neighbor who's a realtor, she said, don't list it for $1 over $500K. And I actually...
That's your neighbor who's invested in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
She should be your biggest support system.
I actually got an appraisal on the house a year and a half ago, and it came in at $460.
Wow.
And so...
That's amazing.
I had that $460 appraisal, and the market was, I think it was maybe a little hotter back then. Maybe I'm wrong.
A year ago?
A year and a half ago.
Oh, a year and a half ago.
Yeah, maybe a little hotter. I think it's before interest rates went up a little bit.
Yeah.
So it came in, but I think that appraisal just came way under. So, anyways, so she said don't list it for $1 above 500. She's done a whole bunch of renovations. She's like, oh, I've done more work on my house than yours, and mine's not even worth close. Yeah, actually, I've got an extra 600 square feet.
What has she said since you sold?
Say it again.
What has she said to you since it went on the market? Does she know it's...
She won't talk to me. She goes over to the neighbors that are next to me. They have like these Toyota Tacomas. Her and the two neighbors, and they both like customize them the same way. And so she walks across the front of my house like who knows how many times per day because they're like looking at each other's Tacomas.
That's funny.
Anyways, but they she hasn't said a whole lot. I think I might have had one interaction, and she just like. I would have never expected that in my wildest dreams that you get an offer at what I did. So she said, don't list it over 500. The other agent that I had look at it, they said we might be able to get this up to 550. The tile guy that actually came and did the work, he wanted to put an offer in on it, but he wanted to not have any work done, right? So there's, he wanted to be below 520. And then the realtor said, if I do all the work, I get up to 550.
Which is also another thing that happens sometimes, right? As you're prepping the home or as you're getting stuff ready, you get an off-market offer, right? That comes in for, in this case, your tile guy. That's like, I want to buy your house.
I've got to sell my house first before you can do it. And I'm like, dude, that sounds way sketch. I'm not waiting for you to sell my house or sell your house so I can sell mine, right?
Sometimes they come with complicated situations, but also, biggest thing is, if anyone wants to buy a home off market, they don't want to give you extra money. They want the discount. They want the deal, by getting it off market without a realtor.
The convenience discount.
Yeah.
The location with because he kept sending me, he's like, hey, well, this house sold for this. Well, that house doesn't back up to open space. You know? That house doesn't have as many square feet. That house, whatever. Like there's, so it was just a really awkward negotiating process.
Yep.
And so what ended up happening, we ended up getting top dollar. I don't know that we could have sold the house for very much more than what we did. I think we literally maxed it out. If you go look at the calculated values for houses in the neighborhood, that house with all the work that we ended up doing on it is the most valuable house in the neighborhood, calculation wise. So
awesome.
Whatever we did out of the 300 houses in that neighborhood, that is the number one. And it's not even the best location in the neighborhood. It may not be the best square footage or whatever, but it is the highest value based off everything we did. And I think the offer all the coaching through it got us to that. Not to take away the culmination happy ending at the end of the episode, but that's the meat of really what ended up happening. But the other thing that happened when that realtor looked at it, the first thing they said is, hey, you need to get new countertops. After you walked through the house and you looked at everything, that was the one thing you said don't touch. So it's just interesting.
Never heard him say that.
Getting experienced realtor versus someone that's not as experienced, or just people that really don't have the volume, and they might be watching the market, seeing houses sell, but like, are they actually in the deals? The experience played through really clearly.
So let me ask a follow-up. Yeah, as far as in that instance in particular with the countertops, right? So what was the previous listing agent's reason for you getting new countertops? What did they tell you? Why? What was their why on that?
I mean, kitchen, makes you the most money, right? So if you're going to invest dollars into fixing something up, kitchen's the first place you look. So I think in their mind, that's what they were taught.
Sure. And
so they're like, hey, these countertops are old and outdated. I'm going to do that. But it was just off the principle that that's what they were taught one time. First thing I look at is countertops.
Now, do you remember what Landon told you for his reasoning of the countertops was?
That they...
if you don't, that's okay.
No,
but
the colors, of countertops they didn't distract too much, and they it wasn't like a negative. So it was like, hey, this isn't going to be like a reason why they're not going to buy. So don't fix them. And the colors actually play pretty well with everything else we're doing.
Yeah, and we'll have Jesse, our podcast producer, post a picture so that the audience can see it on YouTube.
Set the stage. Too. What were the old counters? Or
they're right here. So it was a Formica synthetic counter that was a lighter color that resembled a granite, basically, but it was light enough that right now it's all about light and bright.
It fit right in with the kitchen. There was no reason to change the color of it because it's. I mean, if it were like the dark purple Formica that they had back in the 90s, then we'd have a problem.
Or pink tile countertops.
Or like,
turquoise.
We lucked out. Something from 40 years ago came back into style.
There you go. Well, that's how we bought it.
Some money.
Exactly. You'll take that when it happens. And it's flat, too. It didn't have a second ledge to it, which everybody hates now. And so the fact that it was flat and light, that was my reasoning for keeping it there. And then what a lot of people don't understand is there's so many other things that give you bigger margins, right, to help with the house. The whole house was painted like deep taupe, right? And you had mentioned that you had painted that just a couple of years ago because you didn't know any better, right? It was like neutral. Well, we're good.
When we bought the house, there was I'm colorblind, so if I don't know the colors, but there was a forest green wall.
Yep.
There was this pea yellow everywhere. It was this most disgusting yellow color.
Yeah.
And so in my mind, it was like, okay, anything that's close to white reminds me of that yellow. I want to get away from white. So it ended up being like that gold color or whatever you said.
Kind of like a darker beige taupe.
It's just it was dark and just not modern.
It was an improvement from what you had.
It was an improvement from what I had, but I think I was just trying to get away from anything light like that yellow. But in reality, it's me being colorblind and not realizing that, hey, there's light colors that do look good. It's just not that yellow.
So when did your wife tell you that there were actually red walls?
Right. Well, and I think that the key is like where experience pays off, right, of doing hundreds of these and working with hundreds of people, is that you get taught something in a training meeting, but it may not work for that specific house or that specific situation. So you have to really evaluate the whole thing. And I think, with each decision that we made, it was all about the light and bright look, right? And keeping things moderate. And those styles change every couple of years. You get a new set of styles that comes in. And so we try to be really up to date and up to speed on those. But I still hear agents coming in recommending like dark gray paint or, recommending, there's some other funny ones that we
what's funny is agreeable gray is now becoming a little bit too dark.
Yeah.
We're turning into the more grayish colors now and kind of the lighter stuff. And it's funny because I started painting our interior, and my wife and I had argument after argument of like what color we should do. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I want the grays. I was like, no, you don't. Like gray is not, it's not what you think it is anymore. And this is where it's more, she's like, well, if we go too light, then it's going to look white. If like we go like more of a, grayish, lighter color, it's going to look too light. So we finally agreed on like a really, really light gray. But it's interesting where things trend to go or are trending and where some realtors are stuck.
Yeah.
And they're not really moving with the trends. And so that's where you get like that experience that you had. So real quick question, if you don't mind me asking, do you remember what Landon advised you to update and what you actually ended up updating?
Yeah, I updated every single thing that he said.
Okay, so what was? Do you remember the list?
Yeah, I've got a.
You have a spreadsheet?
It's not a spreadsheet,
But a list.
I had a list. There was 14 bullet points to begin with.
Okay.
That you were writing down as he talked, or did he send you a list of 14
So
things?
he went through the house, and right afterwards, he sat out in his car and he sent me the list right then because it was fresh on his mind.
Yeah.
And that allowed me to get going because I wanted to sell this thing. Like, I started this whole process on like May 3rd or 6th or something like that, and it was on the market by June 7th. So everything I did, like, it was a very quick turnaround. And there's some personal stuff that played into why like that was such a condensed time frame, but like that was my window, and I had to get those things done. So to give you a list of things, you want a list of like what he recommended or what?
Well, no, the reason I ask is because sometimes we'll give recommendations of what we can, what's going to be the best bang for your buck, and we give you a full list. And sometimes people are like, well, I don't know if I want to do that, but I'll do this, and they kind of make their separation. But with somebody like you, you're a perfect client where it's like, okay, this guy's listening. He wants to do everything we tell him to do, and what's the payoff now?
Yeah.
I mean, you're over asking on your home price, right? And I don't know if you want to divulge that pricing yet, but
Yeah, sold in 3 days. And just so for the audience, like, it's under contract still. It closes in a couple weeks,
Yeah.
so we won't say the exact price, but we were a little above asking price at $575 is where we ended up listing. And your recommendations were $500 and $550, right, from the other agents.
Yeah.
So we ended up getting at least 25, 30 more than what we had what you were thinking about before. And so it ended up doubling your money on what the remodel cost was and a little bit more, I believe, as far as the whole thing goes.
And I think what my point is what we tried to get at here is it matters who you go with, like as far as your realtor goes, and everybody knows a realtor. That doesn't mean they're the best one, right? So when you're interviewing realtors, it's these kind of questions that really matter of like, okay, what do you think about my home? Like, what would you update? What would you do? Like,
Coaching.
Yeah, the coaching is huge.
Right.
And because people like yourself that you even pride yourself on being Mr. Do-It-Yourself, right?
Dude.
And all that kind of stuff. And you probably had that list and you're like, oh crap, I didn't even think about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or maybe you did, but you just didn't know what color to use or what, tile to use or whatever it was. So it's just super, super important to interview and get those questions answered.
There's a really low lift, high value thing that people should do when they buy a house. And it's just have the Dream Smith team come take a look at the house. like you don't have to pay.
Amen.
You don't have to sign anything. You just have them do a walkthrough. Afterwards, they'll go out in their car. They'll sit down for like 10 minutes. They'll send you a list of what they recommend. And then you either sign the documents to work with them or not. And like, you might offend your friend, but guess what? If my best friend was my neighbor, I'd have, here in a couple weeks, 75 West K hitting my bank account.
Now, Jason, are we paying you to say all this, right?
In fact, I'm paying you guys to say this.
His time is valuable.
This is not a paid advertisement.
His time for being here, for sure.
No, that's awesome.
This is interesting to hear. Like, we all learn from Landon watching these conversations, and then sometimes we're on our own channeling that.
Yeah.
But what was really telling to me the last time we did it with Detroit, it's like we've done our work. Have they done their work? You're going to know pretty quick in terms of what the comps are. And we had a pretty good confident level. If we did nothing, we knew what the market was.
Yeah.
And then if we did, and we knew comps that had done the work and what we could get to.
Yeah.
And then it becomes it's math. Like, it's not magic math. But like if I spend X, I'm going to get 2X out, or in this case, our case, a little bit more than 2X out, and certainly in your case. But you got to know that you can price it either way. A lot of people say, get me out of here.
Yeah.
But they'll save the money. They'll leave money on the table, but they won't actually feel bad about that because what they wanted more was no work, sell it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get in a deeper conversation like you've had, money's money.
Yeah.
If we can prove it over time, when you put it in, you get it out 2x, 3x times.
Did you do any of the work on your own, or did you have contractors do all of it?
Oh, I did the work myself, and actually,
Did you?
not all of it.
That's
but
awesome.
A chunk of it. I tore my ACL playing basketball in March.
Oh,
Got surgery in April, so I was 1 month post ACL surgery. Over there till
On ladders and
on ladders. And if I would have fallen, I definitely would probably go back under the knife. I'm pretty sure about that.
Way to go, man. Way to sacrifice
yeah.
that one.
Killed our team, by the way. We out first round of the playoffs, gone without
Yeah.
Jason.
That was-
So
Yeah. We can relive the glory days in the future again, Landon. But in another 8 months when I came back on the court. But yeah, I mean, there was some days where I literally painted through the whole night. I was there till
Yeah.
7:30 a.m. The paint dried for a couple hours and they put carpet in.
Yeah.
That's what my timeline was. It was wild.
getting it done.
And with the house, it was built in '82. Mm-hmm. There's always hidden gems. I call them gems because if I really said the word that they should be called, couldn't air it on a podcast. But there's things that are hidden in houses that are that age that just make things extremely complicated and make it way harder. The other thing is the list of contractors that land the team brought forward was incredible. I got the house painted, so I got the popcorn ceiling removed back in 2020, right when I bought it.
Nice. Yeah. Smart move.
And I just went on, Angie's list and looked up for someone that would do that service. I don't even know what you call that. I got a drywall guy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that showed up was a drug addict that had to have his girlfriend drive him in a van, and she stayed out in the van all day, and he would come in and work. And
Did he do good work?
It took him 3-4 weeks to do something. I think a normal person, most people, would have taken a couple days. So
and when you're a do-it-yourselfer, that's killing you inside.
well, it's killing me. I mean, it also killed me to watch him go into my house with the hose and spray the ceiling with the hose and do it. I was like, anyway.
yeah.
So it was a whole process to watch. But anyways, had I just had access to the right contractor,
Sure.
I wouldn't have had to go through that. I was just hiring someone blindly. So also getting access to those relationships is key. And we were down to the wire. We were not going to make the deadline. I was like, hey, Landon, do we have anyone else we can do this? He's like, you know what? I'll call this guy. And he had 4 people show up. That was on a Saturday. On Monday, he had 4 people show up and work Monday and Tuesday just to get some more odds and end things, finished. And we took pictures on, I think, Thursday that week and listed on Friday. So it was we were right up against the gun on just getting some things done.
Yeah.
And, not only one, contractor came through, multiple came through last second just to get the house on the market when we did.
Yeah.
And
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Way to go, man.
It was
Good for you.
That's great.
That's impressive.
Well, and I'm glad it all went pretty smoothly. And you got some contractors that are just so detailed and perfectionist, but they take a while. And then you've got others that will just go and knock stuff out, right? But you may have to go back and check and say, hey, what about this spot? What about this spot?
Were you
So
on drugs when you were doing it?
both. But our guys they're quality. They do a great job. And when somebody's not moving quick enough, then we'll try to layer on top of that and get somebody else in there and smooth that over in the background. And I think it ended up turning out great. The floors looked awesome with that blonde finish that we put on.
Pictures
them.
look great.
It's
phenomenal.
flooring contractor he had. We got a great stager in there, and I even asked the stager about what type of doorknobs should I put on the doors? There's the knowledge from the team, including all the contractors. Just everyone that I touched or talked to was an expert.
We're gonna send this to Stacy Davis, by the way. Shout out to her. She's an awesome stager, and she I think she feels like she is kind of an extension of our team too. So she'll love to hear that you felt like that was all part of the team process. So
we had a group text going on with the flooring person, Stacy, and me about what colors we do.
That's awesome.
You weren't even involved in that. That was probably thing 101.
I missed out on that. That's great. Well, we're super excited for you. Fingers crossed everything closes smoothly here in the next couple of weeks, and grateful for you calling and reaching out so that we could have that opportunity to help you. That was awesome. And anything else in closing that you want to say as far as just the overall experience? And I know when Chad was talking about there's a science to this, right? As far as It's math, right? And that is so true. And then the other part that's so true is that we forget sometimes is it's an art. Selling a house is an art. When people walk through a house, they have to feel a certain way to buy that house. And so that's why every house is different. I would give somebody else a completely different recommendation depending on what they have there that's present. And sometimes it's like, how ugly is it? And how much can we improve it? And how much is that going to cost, right, for the return? And then other times it's like, you know what, that looks okay. Let's work around that and do different things. But I think general advice that some people have questions about is like, if something is dated, they think, I got to match this. I got to match the dated thing with something else that's like it. And then you go dated on dated on dated. It's like, no, you're not getting anywhere.
Yeah.
Sorry, volume was a little high there, but
Nice little time warp.
yeah. But like the key is just start being modern, right? Just start with the thing that's the ugliest that's going to give you the best return. And we can coach people through that. But any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say the science I did on my own, if I was going to list it myself, I would have listed it for 540, and I still would have done a lot of the same stuff that you recommended. And that's what the science would have told me. I think the finesse and everything, like the experience you brought to the table, is what got us up to where we are now.
Your tile guy would have been knocking back on your door, going, "Hey, I'll take it at 540.
Yeah.
I'll take that. That's
I
no
mean,
deal.
I think
Haven't
he's
sold my
gonna-
house
You
yet,
don't
but
need
yeah,
to
I'll
list
take it.
this.
He's
Yeah.
gonna see what it lists at. Like, man, I missed out. So, but he also he would have had to hire you to get the value. So I don't know if he would have done that. So I was skeptical, like literally number one skeptic. You can ask anyone. I am the do-it-yourself king out there. I don't even take my car into the auto shop. I do everything myself. I've replaced my turbo in my car because I'm
Brock can appreciate that.
Yes,
quite a
you
bit.
can.
I've had quite a few cars.
That's why you're sitting next to each other over there.
I do everything myself, and this is this is the first thing that I think I said, okay, I don't have the answers, and I'm gonna probably end up with 20 to 40K more in my pocket here in a couple weeks than I would have had I gone my own route or with another realtor. So,
Your Idaho ancestry might be rolling over in their grave, right? To hear you say this.
Yeah, I
You
hope
didn't
they are.
Do it all on your
I
own.
hope they are. Modern way is the Dream Smith team way. So
When your neighbor finally starts talking to you, try not to be too smug. Because she'll check. She'll know the moment that thing closes.
Oh, I can guarantee you she's been keeping an eye on it on the MLS since it's been on.
Oh yeah. Well,
Just
the other
waiting.
big thing too is like you back to an awesome location, right? That open space, and so it makes even more sense to do a little more to update because you're going to get a higher return because of your location, right? If you back to a busy
Higher
road,
traffic on
it
those
wouldn't have been.
houses.
I wouldn't have been recommending so many things, but like because you had the location that you had, open space. I mean, that's typically depending on the market, $35,000 to $50,000 premium compared to the people that are across the street.
If not more in hotter markets.
well, that's the thing.
it's big.
The realtors next door doesn't back up to open space, and that's why I think she was kind of pissed off that her house probably did, and that's why she wouldn't have done it, because I don't think she saw the value because she didn't buy the house that backs up to it.
She won't be pissed
So-
when it closes.
So that's the thing
She's
is
gonna high five you on the way
Thanking
out.
you. Yeah.
Awesome. So in closing, I know you're a business owner in town, and you've got a product that's pretty awesome for a lot of other business owners out there that are trying to get connected with the right people. Do you want to share a little bit about what you're doing on LinkedIn and your
Yeah.
company name?
Yeah, so company name is Genium. It's derived from like the Latin word Genie, which means to open, it's a door, and then the god of Janus is the god of new beginnings.
That's the basketball team I play for.
Janus.
It's on our jerseys.
Genium. Yeah, it's sponsored.
Jason sponsors our basketball.
Sponsor, yeah. Yeah, Genium. Now you
Could
know.
be
It all
sick
makes
jerseys,
sense now.
pinstripes, and everything. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we automate LinkedIn and email outreach. I just acquired another company that does phone outreach as well, so we're kind of full stop shop for that. What people pay us for is we generate 1 to 3 new responses per day per person that we automate.
Nice.
So you're getting 20 to 60 people hitting your inbox every single month that are wanting to meet with you, have questions. Some might tell you they're not interested, but we're pretty good at writing messaging so that doesn't happen. And we've had some clients approach us and say that they want to group their prospects together in calls. So instead of meeting one-on-one, let's do a roundtable. So we do roundtables where we get 8 to 20 prospects on a Zoom call, and today we had one. We had 15 senior fraud leaders at major banks on a Zoom call for our clients, and if they close a deal with any of those, it'll be a $500,000 deal for them. So we found a really unique way to scale what we do, and I would say we're the best out there for it, and business has been booming. So
That's
That's awesome.
And do you have a website or anything people can look at? If
janium.io, janium.io.
Okay.
So.
Anything.io is hotter than a pistol right now. So that's awesome. Well, good deal. Well, if you're a business owner looking for help with that, getting connected, that's Jason's the guy to call, or check out the website. But thanks again for joining us.
Yeah.
We appreciate you being here and taking the time. So awesome. All right. We'll catch you next time.